The advice, like he has to work the straight body shots because that takes away the intentions of the take.
Ну это маркетинг. Они делают это специально, чтобы разогреть этот бой. Ну, у людей уже есть интерес к этому. Значит, они делают правильно, и мы будем бороться за первое место в рейтинге.
He didn't smile. He didn't hedge. He just laid it out with zero fluff. If Jack Della wants a real path to beating Islam Makhachev at UFC 322, go straight to the body, piston jabs to the chest, spears down the middle, clean shots that make a wrestler's posture jump and his timing slip. That was Ilia Topuria's advice. And it stunned people because it sounds simple but attacks the center of Islam's game without playing into it. Straight to the core, disrupt the entry, and force him to think before he shoots. Topuria spoke like a problem solver, not a trash talker. He studied how Islam manages distance and turns one good entry into an entire round of control.
The UFC wants it. I always gonna accept it. I never choose my opponents. I never say like against him yes and with him no. It's like whoever is in front of me, I don't care.
Что ты думаешь по поводу того, что тебя сместили внезапно с первой строчки pound for pound?
Ну это маркетинг. Они делают это специально, чтобы разогреть этот бой. Ну, у людей уже есть интерес к этому. Значит, они делают правильно, и мы будем бороться за первое место в рейтинге.
Straight body shots punish that habit. When you stab the solar plexus, the head lifts, the hands drop, and the forward drive stalls just enough for counters to land. Jack loves those moments. He's economical and sharp. There's a second angle that matters. Islam isn't draining himself to 155 anymore. At welterweight, he's stronger, fresher, and harder to hold still, but heavier frames have trade-offs. Footwork slows a tick. Luke Rockhold said he's seen Islam looking thicker through the back, like a man who has outgrown the old weight class for good. That can be good news for top control and tough news for entries in open space. Ilia didn't pretend Jack can keep the fight standing forever. He just pointed to a habit that robs the first beat from a takedown. Hit the midline, make the hips hesitate, then punish the next read. That is the part casual fans miss. Great wrestlers win the first half second. If you steal that half second even once, you rewrite the tempo. Dustin Poirier boiled the matchup down to the clearest math. If Islam gets the takedowns, he probably wins. If Jack can deny chains and stand quickly, the size and boxing tilt his way. Against Belal Muhammad, Jack's defensive reactions looked grown. He walked the fence. Belal never stops. Islam is different. He's a quiet avalanche. That's why Topuria's blueprint matters. Then there's Craig Jones.
Guy. So, you know, we'll see how Islam, how he bulks up and how he looks. He looks a lot bigger than what I remember. I used to train with him forever. So, I mean, he's definitely grown. You know, we'll see how he carries the weight.
I don't know if he does it off the back of Jack, and I love Jack, but I don't know if beating a shiny new champion.
Beat someone like him, of course the prize is bigger. It's like if you want to become the world champion in the featherweight division, you have to beat Alexander Volkanovski because he dominates everyone in the division. So this is why I wanted to face Islam. But anyways, he moved up, he took his own path, and I'm doing.
The coach who mapped Jack's anti-wrestling. Laura Sanko watched what Jones drilled and then watched those exact sequences appear live. Peel the hands, hip heist, pivot, recenter, strike on the exit. Jones believes the same discipline can blunt Islam's chains if Jack stays ruthless about position before punches. Israel Adesanya added a striker's faith. He thinks that once a big, well-balanced welter stands up a few times, the next entry looks less inviting. That's where the straight body work becomes a tax. Even if Islam finishes a shot, he starts the ride with oxygen debt. That's the opening for elbows on the break and counters on the re-entry. None of this ignores Islam's view. He looks at the pound-for-pound shuffle and calls it marketing, a scoreboard the UFC moves to fuel anticipation. In the meantime, Ilia has his own title to defend, and rumors suggest a DC card down the road where the dream collision could happen. Islam himself set the tone for that night. He called Jack a hard fight. He said this one can decide who actually looks like the best in the building. Jack is not a tune-up. He's a champion who solved problems, tightened habits, and tuned his defense under pressure. He's also a big welter with a jab that splits guards and a right hand that bites when opponents think they're safe. So how does body first look in real minutes?
I know you talked a little bit about Jack. What do you think he's going to be a hard fight for you? I know he said he wants to get one back for Alexander Volkanovski here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hard fight. Honestly, it's gonna be. I saw his fight against Bilal. He's good, man. He's good. When he beginning fighting in UFC, he had problem with the wrestling, but now he's improved because I see he training a lot with the wrestlers, with the grapplers, and that's why he's a champion right now, and he's good everywhere. But we will see who is the best fighter in the world.
You versus Islam on the White House card would be insane. Would you want to fight at the White House, or?
Why not? I would love to fight in front of the United States of America.
Yeah.
I would love it. We'll see what's
But it's
gonna
a year
happen.
away, right?
It's a year away.
That could be perfect timing for you and Islam, though. What weight would that go down at now, though?
Like, what do you mean? When
Like
it could happen?
what weight class? Yeah.
I don't care with him.
He couldn't come back down to 155.
Once you try to go up, you never want to come back.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's hell, right?
it's hell.
Yeah.
It's hell. I had to go through hell when I was cutting the weight in 145.
No looping hooks early, straight lines only. Jack pokes the chest to measure range, then drills the midline to make Islam's level change delay half a beat. When Islam tries to change levels under the jab, the next straight meets him halfway. When the fence looms, he must win head position, fight for inside hands, and never let the underhook die. If he gets grounded, he must build his base, get to the fence, and stand without giving up his neck. Islam's answer is ruthless simplicity. He wants Jack on the mesh, hands heavy, legs collected, base smashed. He is a master at turning inches into minutes. He waits for the moment a tired fighter gives a back to stand and then puts hooks in like a lockpick. If Jack's straight shots get lazy, Islam will time one, shoot through the hips, and turn that one read into 5 solid minutes of control. That's the danger Ilia respects. Rockhold's reminder about size still matters. A bigger Islam rides heavier and escapes with less slippage. The top feels like wet concrete, but the entry gets marginally slower, and margins are exactly where elite boxing lives. The spear to the body is a margin changer that quietly tilts close beats toward the striker. Poirier's logic, Adesanya's trust, Jones's blueprint, and Sanko's receipts all point to one hinge. Who wins the first 2 minutes of each round? If it's Islam, the cage shrinks and the mat feels sticky. If it's Jack, the center belongs to him and Islam has to shoot from farther or stand longer than he wants. Most fights don't swing on knockouts. They swing on that hinge. Whoever owns it stacks rounds. Topuria's words cut through the mind games. He's offering a method that turns fear into tasks. Punch the body straight, frame the collarbones, peel the hands, stand, reset, repeat. Each cycle steals a piece of the wrestler's plan, and each clean stab to the ribs makes the next scramble a little sloppier. Islam, of course, can flip the board. When without the torture of the cut, he could be even more dangerous late. That's where discipline breaks. That's where one sloppy exit becomes back control, and back control becomes the kind of squeeze that drains a man's hope. Jack has to accept that and still keep the jab to the chest alive, still keep the straight to the sternum honest, still break on angles, and still refuse the easy stand that gives up the neck. Jack is built for stubborn minutes. He's calm in the pocket. He chooses shots, not flurries. He wastes nothing. That is exactly the style that can turn body first into scoreboard pressure. 1 round of clean jabs to the chest becomes 2. 2 becomes 3. By the championship minutes, the entries are a hair later, the clinch is a hair looser, and the counters a hair meaner. That's enough. Fans keep asking if a win here resets pound for pound. Maybe. Laura Sanko doesn't buy that beating a brand new champion carries the same gravity as outclassing a legend like Charles Oliveira, and that's a fair point, but dominance carries its own weight. If Islam walks Jack down and drowns him, the aura returns. If Jack blunts the chains and breaks posture with bodywork, the conversation shifts toward a new order. Either way, the debate gets louder. Some observers still wonder if taking out a fresh champion equals the same credit as beating a long-reigning icon. That's the wrinkle Lorosenko flagged after watching Jack's last camp with Craig Jones. Rankings reward dominance and drama, not just belts. Islam knows that, Jack knows it too, so the incentive is brutal clarity, wins so decisively that nobody argues about context afterward. Again, the talking is almost over. What remains is a test of stubborn plans. Islam wants quiet rounds, long rides, and tiny suffocations that stretch seconds into dread. Jack wants center, jabs to the chest, spears to the midline, and clean breaks into counters. One man will force the other to negotiate every minute. That is why Ilia's one sentence feels like a key, not a guarantee, a key. Here's the picture when the horn sounds. If Jack's first weapons are straight and disciplined, Islam's first choices get worse. If Islam's first takedowns land clean, Jack's best weapons gather dust. It's not personal, it's geometry. And tucked inside that geometry is the thing that keeps this sport ruthless. A simple plan, executed without panic, can crack a dynasty. Topuria might never share the cage with Islam, or he might meet him when timing lines up and the stars stop arguing. Either way, his message travels. Stab the center, break the posture. Make a genius recalculate. If Jack does that for long enough, the cage will feel wider and the shots will start to look late. If he can't, the walls will close, the canvas will hold, and the old inevitability will walk back into the room. That's the fight. No mystique, no magic word, just pressure, posture, math, and a plan that starts in the ribs and ends on the scoreboard. When the door shuts in November, watch the first straight to the chest. If it lands clean and keeps landing, everything Ilia hinted at becomes real. If it whiffs and keeps whiffing, the story flips. Either way, we're about to find out who owns the first half second and who turns that half second into the whole night.